This is Bob Hollis with the Mobius Network and a demonstration on using Flexheader in the Joomla system. So Flexheader allows us to put a different header on every page without having to have a copy of a module for every page, which you can imagine how cumbersome that would be if you had a 200, 300 page website or even a 50 page website. Who wants 50 copies of a module just to put a different photo in each one? So in this case we're using a rotating photo for the home page, and then here, for example, on this Ghirardelli Square page, this is a Flexheader page. Now I've turned, what I want to do is, as you can see, nothing shows us what to do with this right now. So you go into the administrative side of Joomla and go to Extensions, Module Manager, and once you get to Module Manager, I like using this little filter just to save time. I'd already typed Flex in there, and it limited it to this instead of showing 50 different modules to sort through. So now I just open the Flexheader module, and here's what we want to do. Over here for the debug, we want to turn this on, and it's not to solve bugs, it's to show us some ID information that is useful for this tool. This determines our width, and so we're at 986 by 300. If you were going to create any new photos, those are the dimensions that you would want. File type is JPEG, and we have a default header set so that if you don't assign anything in particular to a page, it will go to the default header. And so that works out well, so that if you create new pages and accidentally don't remember to put this photo, or even if you have one, you don't want to have to go through and do it manually every single time. So that is a good thing to have. Just have one photo set for default and then change the others as you go through. So we're turning on the debugger, and you can do it for user, where it gives you a small panel at the bottom, or developer, which gives you a lot more information. But all we need for our purposes now is the user. So I've come into Flexheader, I'm setting that to show these messages that we need to see, and saving. And now, just to make sure it's doing what I expect, I'll go back out to Ghirardelli Square and reload. And that's what I was looking for. And so now you see down here we've got item ID 6312. And I'll just copy that from here. Though it's fairly easy to remember, obviously, but item ID 6312, just like it appears there. And then we're going to go in, and what we're doing now is going into Explorer, which is basically just a file manager that instead of having to go outside of Joomla into cPanel, which you normally would do to use a file manager, this builds one right in, which is very convenient. And our images for the headers are stored in Images, Other Header Images. And now you'll see that we have all these different photos here, and that many of them are named item ID because they've already been assigned to pages. And what I want to do in this case is find the Ghirardelli photo, which I don't see here. I know I downloaded it, but I probably already named it something else. So in that case, I'll use the cannery. So let me go back out here instead of Ghirardelli Square. If that one's done yet, we were just rebuilding links. Let me see. If not, I'll assign the cannery to here for now. Yeah, it looks like we're good. So I can, if I click on the cannery, we're going to see here that this is item ID 2. And now if I go back to Explorer and go to this photo called the cannery, I'm going to right click, rename, leave the JPEG extension intact, and replace the initial part of the file name with item ID 2. So all I'm doing is renaming the photo to match the item ID that Flexheader told me to name the image that I want to appear here. So now that I've done that and saved it, I should be able to go back here, and if I go to the cannery and refresh, we've now got the cannery photo. And so that's all there is to it. So if you need to change photos for headers, that's what you do. You can actually see what the item IDs are at the very bottom of the URL. So for example, I don't know how well my screen's going to show up, but you can replicate this on your own. In the very bottom left corner where I see the link to whatever I'm hovering over that's hyperlinked, I can see that it ends in, for example, this one is item ID 6313. And if I click on North Point Shopping Center, you'll see that it comes up 6313. Now that's what Flexheader is telling me here. So in reality, you don't need Flexheader on to see what you should be naming your items. But this just makes it convenient and pops up, and some people wouldn't know how to read that. Also, you'll notice there's an equal sign here. So if you were to just copy it out of here, all you would need to do is remove the equal sign, and that would work just fine. So that's how you use Flexheader. And then when you're done, you go back in and go back to Joomla up here in the top left. Go into Module Manager, Flexheader, and now remember, normally you'll have a whole page of them, but I have it narrowed down through the filter, and then you turn debugging back off and save. So now if I go back out to North Point Shopping Center and refresh, oh, we didn't change it, did we? But the Flexheader indicator will go away. And if once I change the rest of these, which I'll be doing right now that we got the new system in place and working, we'll put Ghirardelli Square in and all the rest, and they'll line up the way they're supposed to on here. That's about it for Flexheader. If you have any questions, let me know. Bob@themobiusnetwork.com.